Hey guys, get ready to do a no repeat strength workout with warm up and cool down included. So the beginning section will be all our nice warming up exercises, starting here with just knee pull-ins, nice little stretch. Remember to listen to your body as to what feels good. I'm kind of flexible, so I might pull my knee in a little bit farther than other people do, but just warming up those legs and giving the back of the body a little bit of a stretch. Moving on to some arm warming up. We're going to reach the arms overhead, and then we're going to pull the elbows down and back, squeezing the back muscles, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Arms overhead is going to help with the warming process. We're getting all the muscles ready to go because this is going to be focusing more on strength and less on cardio today. For this next one, you might want to hold on to a chair or something. I'm using my slanted walls here. It's just a swing forward and back. This is often used to warm up the legs for like runners and things like that. So we're going to do one leg and then the other. These are approximately 40 seconds of work with a little less than the 10 seconds of rest, just because these are nice, easy warming up exercises. And then we're just going to do the same thing on the other leg. So we're just thinking about warming up the different muscles that we're going to be using today. So this one, you pull the elbows together as close as you can. Some people can't pull them all the way together like I do here. And you push down. This will be warming up the pec. So pushing down and then just opening out and back in, which will also warm up our shoulder really well. This is one of my favorite exercises. These are called good mornings. So you just hinge forward from the hips with a flat back, and then you sink back into a little squat. And just continue that motion over and over. You're going to feel the back of the legs stretch on the first part of the exercise, and then the legs are going to be working through that squat motion. So little deadlift into a squat. Back to warming up the arms, we're just going to think about leading with your elbows here. So bend your elbows and rotate backwards. And I'm doing 4 at a time here, alternating backwards and then forwards through this whole section. Work within your range of motion. If it helps to bend the elbows a little bit more, like if you have any difficulties with your shoulders, that's perfectly fine. usually call this one like a cross-country ski because you're just doing a little jump, feet alternating front and back. And I've given you an option up there for low impact, just to take those heels forward. Pushing the arms overhead is going to help to increase that body temperature. We've moved through several different range of motion exercises, should be ready to get to this level of work at this point. And we're almost there. This is our last exercise of the warming up process, moving into the strength part of the workout next. Okay, starting off here, you're going to be kind of reaching down across the body and down into the front of your shin, pulling that weight up and pressing it overhead. I'm using a dumbbell here. If you don't happen to have any dumbbells, maybe you can grab a water bottle or something. These exercises can also be done with no weight at all, and you'd be surprised at how much work you can get just using your own body weight. But if you're wanting to challenge yourself and gain some muscle, a little added weight would be great. Do the same motion on the other side. Sometimes we notice big differences from one side of the body to the other. Obviously, we're right-handed or we're left-handed, so the arm strength might be different, but you also might feel your legs differently as well. Next up, we have a tricep extension. We're going to press overhead, let the weights fall behind the head, and then pull it back in. What's good about this one is we're getting some bicep as we pull the arms down into the chest and a little bit of chest muscles as well. So these can be challenging. Again, you can do these with lightweight or a little bit heavier to challenge yourself a little bit more. Remember, there's only one round of these, so push yourself through each one of these exercises. Body weight work. So stand and hold on to something, again, would probably be best. And you're going to cross one leg over and lift it up and across. It's important to crisscross the body a little bit. This is to activate the inner thigh. Notice my inside of my thigh is turned upward towards the ceiling. That's going to activate those inner thigh muscles and keep the strength in the hip nice and even and nice and strong. These can get heavy quick, so good luck. On to the other side, just holding on. Notice I've crossed my leg and then I'm lifting it up. I always say I had a disadvantage here with a really long inseam. My legs feels a little heavier by the end of these, but they're really good for the inner thigh strength. And we sometimes have trouble isolating that muscle group, and so you want to think about taking time to strengthen the leg muscles evenly. Okay, for this next exercise, we're going to do a front raise to a lateral raise with two different hand positions. throughout. So to begin with, you're going to start with the palms facing down, then you're going to turn your thumbs facing up, and then you're going to do the side raise with the palms facing down, and then repeat again with the palms facing up. This really works the shoulder on all sides and gives you a great little shoulder burn. Okay, on to a nice little cross punch boxing move. You can absolutely do this one with no weights. If you do decide to do it with weights, I suggest fairly light ones. I've got 5 here, but you could easily do it with 1, 2, or 3, or 4 pounds as well. This will work at the back of the shoulder. You're also getting a little bit of bicep every time you pull those weights in towards your body. Make sure you're keeping your spine nice and long and your core nice and tight. Only one weight needed for this next one. We're going to step back into a lunge with arm out to the side and then do an overhead press. So notice I've got sort of that 90-degree angle there in the armpit, and then I'm pushing straight up overhead with the palm facing forward. Check in with your balance. The depth of the lunge is completely up to you. You will definitely feel these at the end of the set. And then getting ready to switch to the other arm / other leg. Moving on to a bicep focus. Just a full range of motion bicep curl, turn to the outside, full range of motion on the outside. The ones on the outside are generally a little bit tougher. Try to move all the way through the full range of motion. In other words, don't only come part way down, come all the way down to the lowest point and you'll feel the best work. One little bit of a cardio boost and leg workout for this one before we move on into abs. So you're just reaching down to the opposite toe and a little jump in between. Remember, just like in other videos, you don't have to do the jump motion. You can just either stand up or you can come up and do a calf raise at the top, coming up onto your tiptoes. two options available here: your standard crunch up there in the corner, or a full roll down sit up with an arm press overhead with your weight. So either choice is fine. Also know that if you like, you could do your crunch with hands behind the head. That might end up feeling a little bit more weighted in your standard abdominal work. Next up, we have elbow plank. You can just hold this for the 40 seconds. If you're having any trouble, you can either take breaks by lowering the knees, or you can do the whole thing on your knees if it's a challenge for you. This is isometrically contracting the abdominal muscles, and so it's a really good addition to the way that you train your abs. We don't want to leave out our obliques. We're going to do a twisting crunch, bringing the knee up and then extending the leg and reaching the hand towards the foot. Just keep that alternating, and what that does is that squeezes the obliques that run at a diagonal on either side of the belly. You made it to cool down. Now's the time to take a few moments to stretch. We're going to start out laying on our back, extending one leg up, gently pulling the leg towards you. And after a few seconds here, optional if you like, you can pull the chest up towards that shin. That is completely up to you. It'll just increase that stretch. I'm going to be doing that here. And then releasing back, kind of release the tension there and maybe flex and point the toe a little bit to give the ankle a little bit of love. Every time you flex, you might feel a little bit deeper stretch through the back of the leg. And we'll do the same thing on the other side, extending that leg up, gently pulling it towards you. Listen to your body. You always want to make sure that you're finding just that edge and it's not making you feel like you're going into a protect the muscle response. So if it ever feels very sharp, you want to ease back off of it. You want to just find that nice area where you're feeling a stretch, but not too much. Pulling the chest up if that feels good to extend the stretch, lowering back, and then carefully flexing and pointing the toe. Next, we're going to do a stretch for the hips, outer thighs. Cross one ankle over the other thigh. This may be a good stretch for you. And then if you'd like to add, go ahead and lift that thigh up towards you and grab a hold underneath and pull it in. You're going to feel a nice stretch in that crossed over legs, hip and outer thigh area. And then if you want to add even a little bit more of a stretch, you can extend the other leg up towards the ceiling. We'll do that here in a second. And then moving on to the other leg, same thing. It's very common to feel a difference from one side to the other. If you have a side that feels really, really tight, maybe give yourself a few extra minutes or a few extra seconds on each side to stretch that out a little bit more. We want to try to create symmetry, especially in the lower body. And so take the time to stretch the tight side and hopefully release that tension, extending that leg up for a little extra stretch if you choose to. Now we're going to stretch out the shoulders. Start with your hands straight out in front and come across the body. And with the other hand, hug that arm in towards you. Make sure that shoulder is lowered and it's not hugged up towards the ear. And I like to grab on my forearm just because I'm kind of flexible. But if it feels better to grab at the upper part of the arm and hug the arm in and gives you a better stretch, that's perfectly fine also. And then we're going to just lead with that elbow like we did at the beginning and do some shoulder rolls back and then shoulder rolls forward. And then we'll move on to the other arm. Straight out in front to begin, across the body, hug it in, holding that stretch. I wanted to show you my shoulder was down. You can feel that nice stretch across the back of the shoulder and even into the middle of the back. And then when you're done with this, you can release the stretch and do some rolls backward. I always think about leading with my elbow. I think I did 4 back and then 4 forward. And then we're going to stretch our triceps next. Reach up and give yourself a pat on the back. I want you to give a little extra push with the other arm. I'm going to show you how you're just reaching your fingertips down your back as far as you can. And another option is you can take the other hand around behind and see where your flexibility stretch is for both elbows. Notice I'm standing nice and tall. Sometimes on this one, we want to sort of round forward if we have a trouble with tightness in our upper body. So I've also taken the hand up overhead and given myself a little bit deeper stretch by giving that elbow a little extra push to reach those fingertips a little bit further down the back. And then we'll move on to do the same thing on the other side. Reaching the other hand up, give yourself a pat on the back, and then with the other hand, give a little push till you find that stretch. Now, everybody's different, and you may have one arm that doesn't have the flexibility that the other one does. So just work on it. Notice that this side isn't anywhere near, I'm not able to get quite the distance that I can as the other side, but that's totally normal being right-handed or left-handed. So you want to just work with what you got, try to get that good stretch. I really like being able to give that little extra push here so that I can really lengthen and stretch out those triceps. We're going to stretch the biceps out next. We work them several different ways. You're going to take the hand straight out in front, fully straighten your elbow, and then place your hand in your other palm and press back. Now, if you have any issues with your wrists, this may bother you, so don't press too hard. There's also a nice little meaty portion between the thumb and the first finger. If you push there, you're going to feel like sort of a pressure point, and that sometimes feels really nice. Go ahead and switch to the other side. We'll do these just half the time on each arm. And that's it. You finished up another great workout. Hoping you're feeling really strong. See you next time.